Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, John Hamilton. It is Monday, May 19th, 2025 here in lovely Yorktown, Virginia. Beautiful here in May. And yes, yesterday was the 45th anniversary of the Mount St. Helens eruption on May 18th, 1980. And I remember it clearly like it was yesterday. It was a Sunday. It erupted at 8:32 a.m. Pacific time. So here in Virginia, it was 11:32 a.m. And you have to, let me set the mood for you how different things were back then. We didn't have cable TV yet. MTV, my buddy at the Air Force Base, he got that in August 1st, 81. And then we lived over there at his house at first until everybody else got cable. The camcorder was not popular until 83, and digital cameras didn't come out until around 1990. And in 1980, John Lennon passed away. Bill Haley passed away. So John Lennon was kind of the end of the 60s. It felt like the end of the 60s. Bill Haley had the first rock record, so that felt like the end of the 50s. We had a new president. Reagan came in office. So the whole, when 1980 came, everything felt different. Like everything was changing. It was something new and exciting, for better or for worse, depending on your point of view. Full disclosure, I'm a lifetime political independent. But, I write articles that appear in a couple of local newspapers. But so it felt like a real time of change. All of a sudden it was 1980, and all of a sudden this event happened. And so we had all Sunday to see it on TV because you didn't have cable. You just had basically the three TV channels and a couple of other UHF channels. But so everybody watched the same thing. You know, that's how it was back then. Everybody watched the miniseries, whether it was Roots or the Thornbirds or North and South, and then you went to school the next day and you all talked about the same thing. So there was really more camaraderie, because now there's 1,000 different things in social media, but back then everybody watched the same thing and you talked about it when you got to school. And when we got to school that Monday, boy, it was something. And the coverage, they had cameras there and footage because activity had been on the mountain for weeks. And so they had the seismologists there, they had the cameramen, they had the curiosity seekers. And sadly, one thing that stands out is 57 people died, and everybody kind of really overlooked that. So my condolences to their family and friends, because everybody was just so excited about the photos and everything. And it was kind of like, well, hey guys, wait a minute, this is a big tragedy, you know. And it was not presented as a big tragedy like the tornadoes when people die or the hurricanes. It was presented because this mountain went from, I think, 8,700 feet to 7,400 feet, like 1,300 feet. And people just couldn't believe it. And even though we didn't have HD cameras then, they still got great footage of it. It was something people had never seen before. And it turned out it was the biggest eruption in American history, so, you know, in 200 and some odd years. So it was it just felt like it was a different decade, and that was just like started everything, you know. And it turned out to be, of course, the 80s, a wild decade with everybody making a lot of money, and the music, and weird music, but fun music, and it was just a different time. It just felt so different. I would go back in a minute, you know. I know I'm one of those guys, but I'm 62. I was born in 1963, and it was just a lot better. But you know, you don't want to forget those people that were lost. One guy was named Harry R. Truman, not to be confused with Harry S. Truman, and he was an innkeeper on the mountain, and he stayed. And he died, you know, he died there at Spirit Lake. If you want to read about him, he's a pretty interesting guy, but it was sad that he was gone too. But that was the thing, the main thing, if this was today with social media, it would have been all over social media and Twitter and so forth. But that's it. If you go back, you can see you can read some really good articles like Time Magazine. If you go look at the cover of Time Magazine, that one's an incredible photo. I reposted one on Twitter that a guy took. He was jogging, and you can see this is in modern times, and you can see how the crater is healed. And Spirit Lake, they said, was disappeared during the explosion, but it's back now, and it's kind of shaped like a heart from above. So I guess you know, the spirit of a heart there. But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to tell you, a little bit about what happened, how different it felt when you watched a news event in those days. You know, I think of other things that happened back then, and everybody watched it together, so to speak. And that was that Sunday. Football season was over. There was baseball, hockey, and the basketball was in session. There was really no soccer to speak of yet in America, so that was kind of an unheard of thing. But they were interrupting sports. So they had something called ABC's Wide World of Sports, and they were interrupting all those events during the day. So you had from like 11:32 a.m. all the way to the night, and then you went to bed and talked about it at school and work. So, well, that's it. I just wanted to tell you a little bit of what it was like growing up in those days. And I hope you're watching my Wordle videos. I'm doing them every day now, and they seem to be popular. And my system really works, so if you want to try it for 30 days, you'll get a lot better at it. And we'll see you for the next video. Goodbye. Hello. You ready to go for your walk? You got your leash and you're ready, huh? Okay. Say goodbye.